UFC 317 has come and gone, and obviously the big story, guys, Ilia Topuria. He defeats Charles Oliveira, third straight knockout over a legend. He's now a two-division champion. He gets his moment with the two belts. He does it in the first round. He was literally on this program a week ago, and I'm not just saying it was exclusive to us. He told anyone who would listen, anyone who wanted to speak to him, I'm knocking this guy in the first round out. And it's look, it's very easy to make the comparisons to Conor McGregor. People do that all the time. But I'm making the comparison to the rise of Conor, not because of his trash talk. That's usually what people lean towards. It's because we have not seen this level of confidence and this level of like, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to back it up. And he does it, dare I say, at a whole other level, because he says with the confidence of someone who's going on a walk to go get some coffee, yeah, I'm just going to knock him out. And then he walks up to him at the face-offs and says, I'm sorry it had to be you. And then you see him on Friday night celebrating the victory. The Friday before the fight, he's there with his family in a scene that you often see on the Saturday night after a fight, celebrating the victory. He does all this stuff time and again, and he backs it up, and every time it's more lethal, more dangerous, more impressive. And I was wondering why, at least for me, this hit. It hits so well. It like... Not because I wanted to see Charles lose, but just to see it play out like this, to see him back it all up on this stage, on this weekend, International Fight Week, which usually is the week where the UFC tries to, make a star or at least showcase a star. Conor benefited from it, etc. And then it hit me. It was very obvious. It's very, very obvious.
Tell me.
It's been a pretty shitty week leading up to this point. The whole narrative, and I contributed to it. I had to contribute to it, was the fight that didn't happen. The biggest fight of the year did not happen and is not going to happen. And a guy who considers himself the GOAT backed away and decided not to do what you're supposed to do and fight the guy and just gave up the belt. That was the lead into this. Let's be honest, it overshadowed a lot of what was planned for Saturday. And here comes Ilia with a smile on his face. He walks out like someone who has a sheepish smile on his face, like they're about to accept an award. You know when someone is like, "Oh, you're the winner of the Emmys," and you're like, that's how he walks out. And he does that to Charles Oliveira, and he gets the two belts, and he has the rose, and you just feel like this is the guy. This is the new #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in my opinion, and Uncrowned has backed it up. Uncrowned.com just put out those. There is no denying he is the biggest superstar in the UFC. There's no denying that he is only going to get bigger. And lastly, I'll just say what's so refreshing about this, very quickly in the Conor run, it was, and I don't blame him for it, but it was just a big part of the narrative. I want this, I want equity, he doesn't do any of that. He's just like, I'm here, this is beautiful, I won the belt in the training, I collect it in the fight. Like, wow. He continues to nail it every time. And even this morning, he puts out that he's having a reality show on HBO Max, I believe in Spain, because it's in Spanish. It is mesmerizing to watch him compete. I'm in awe of this guy.
You can't look away. It's must-see television at this point. Everything that you just mentioned, all the accolades that he's received in comparison to Conor, becoming a two-division champion, knocking people out, superstars, knocking out legends of the game. On top of all of that, he's 17-0. He's representing Spain. He's bringing a championship to them as well as Georgia. And the confidence. There's nothing fake about this confidence. Like, it's not like fake it till you make it, man. He walks out there knowing what is about to happen. Like, I said it to Rick on the watch party. When he's shaking everyone's hands, he shakes Mark Goddard's hand, sort of like how you said going to accept the award. It looks like he's at a cocktail hour, getting introduced to new friends. He's like, yeah, hey, how's it going? All right, guys. And then when he finishes the fight, after he just ethers Charles Oliveira, something that you do not see, the way that he put him out completely cold, eyes open, doesn't know where he's at. And then he just turns to his team after he does the tea and everything like that, just shakes the hands, just like, all right, another job well done. It truly is. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, like the allusions to Conor can kind of become trite, right? Like, because there's been so many the next Conor McGregors, but it is the closest thing. It is the closest thing we've seen. And I think here's the point where Conor went to Mayweather and then it went sideways, right? This is that point.
Literally the moment. This is Eddie Alvarez.
And so he has an opportunity to do something that Conor wasn't able to,
Same age, by the way, 28.
To continue that and forge his own path. But I think the thing that's special for me about Ilia Topuria, and Conor had it as well, again, to allude to Conor, is he makes you believe, right? It's one thing to talk the trash. It's one thing to be the guy, but often it's you kind of think of it as part of the game, right? It's just like, this is what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to hype the fight. They're supposed to promote. But his confidence, his demeanor, it makes you believe that he knows something that you don't know in a way that Conor used to, right? Mystic Mac and all the prognostication and telling you exactly what he's going to do. There are others who would try this, right? But they can't quite get it right. To talk about like, I'm going to go up a weight class and I'll knock out Charles Oliveira in 2 minutes and then do exactly that is scary. Like it's an eerie type of confidence. And so there's a thing called like main character syndrome, right? Where you're this person who believes that you're the main character. He is the main character and he knows it and he tells you it and then you believe it. We are along on the ride in believing that he is the main character of this story.
We have seen some incredible knockouts, some incredible finishes. I don't think I'll ever forget the sight of Charles Oliveira out, bleeding, eyes open. It looked like he had just suffered a shotgun blast to the face. Like that's what it looked like with the way the blood was and the way his eyes were open like that. I mean, he hit him with a right hook and then a left hook.
And he was out from the right.
He was out from the right. And there was no there's a video out there where you can see, I kind of missed it in real time, where Charles actually nails him with an elbow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even flinch.
Doesn't even flinch. He seems to have a good chin to this point. I know he got knocked down by Jai Herbert, but he came back and won that fight from a massive
He's a much
head
better
kick.
fighter.
It's just unbelievable. And then like just the power. He has that great equalizer at 145 and now at 155. It's like I saw some people joking like, oh, he's a mini Georgian Poatan or he's a mini Georgian Ngannou, but like the power that he carries is unbelievable. To this point now, you look back at the Josh Emmett fight, it's like, how did Josh Emmett survive that long? Like, how did he make it the 5 rounds? I know he got 10-7 and won, but like this fight-altering power, because the Volkanovski fight, I know it only went a round and a half, but Volkanovski looked good until he didn't. The Max Holloway fight, he really was looking good. It was an incredibly close fight until he didn't. And then Charles Oliveira, obviously, it only lasted the round. But like he has this power that if you're going to go 25 minutes with Ilia Topuria, you're going to have to be perfect at this point.
It's unbelievable. The UFC is very lucky to have him at this stage. There are many opportunities for them to how they have not at least brought him to Spain and done like a big presser, because part of the Conor rise was that press conference in Ireland with Jose Aldo. Like, you need those moments. If you're not going to have him fight there, you need those moments. Nevertheless, whatever he is doing is really, really special to watch. And he's not Conor. It's very easy to make that comparison, but I don't think he's anything like him in terms of like his demeanor, his behavior, the trash talk. He's not a big trash talker. And so what I like about it is it just feels like the second coming, the first time since that we have a character somewhat like him, but he's backing it all up. He's delivering. And man, I honestly, I feel like I'm just sort of rambling because I am in so much awe of this guy because of how he acts and then how he performs.
That awe and that feeling is an emotional thing, right? It's not a logical thing. Logically, we're like, okay, look, this is his path, this is his resume. We can do that. We can do that till the cows come home, and there are other people that you can look at and do that. And like, this is the greatest run since blah, blah, blah. Here's the 3 names on the resume. What he does is emotional. What Ilia is creating is emotional in the way that Conor used to create emotions. And so he gives us that feeling that feels like 2016 again. It feels like 10 years ago. It feels like, holy shit, do we actually have the thing again? Can we recapture that? Can we get the nostalgia for that thing that has been lacking for so long? And as you said, the story of this week was kind of the opposite, right? Was this feeling of like, we could have had this thing and we lost it. And now this guy is presenting an opportunity every time he fights for you to have that feeling of, this is the feeling that I've been missing.
Well, you talk about the superstardom and what we really have with Ilia Topuria. UFC clearly backing him, letting him parade around with the 2 belts, bringing Paddy Pimblett in. Then they broke out his knockout of Charles Oliveira, posted it straight to their YouTube channel. It has more views than the Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje UFC 300 knockout, which was earthquake level knockout. Like, it felt like everyone saw that one. His already has more than that in a single day.
What did it have?
It's already at 11 million.
Jeez.
And the Gaethje one had like 9.8. And then this morning he passed Islam Makhachev in Instagram followers. He now has the most followers of any active UFC fighter on the roster.
Is he the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world?
I ranked him number 1.
I
He
had
does
him
not.
number 2 still.
Wow, behind?
Islam.
But he moved up.
He does make a decent case. Listen to his breakdown of why
I mean,
he
it's
stays
just,
one.
if you do the math, like, Islam has 2 wins over Alex.
Yeah.
He has a win over Charles. Ilia has a win over Charles, a win over Alex. You swap the second Alex for the Max, and it's.
But he's actually won now 2 belts. If Islam was the 170-pound belt, then yes.
He also, not only does he have 2 belts, it's the way that he's winning. To me.
Certainly. It's an argument. I wouldn't stand here and say that you can't have him. I am going to have Islam until otherwise proven. He has the longer resume. He has the more wins. At the moment, it's as close as it can be. I have no problem with anybody who hasn't won.
At several points this weekend, I've said it off air, but in my opinion, the Mount Rushmore, the top 4 of current pound for pound, I think is inarguable, and I think it's Ilia, Islam, Merab, and Pantoja.
Yeah, I would have it right now as Ilia, Islam, Merab, Pantoja.
That's my 4.
Mine is the same, except swap Ilia and Islam.
Is he the face of the UFC?
He's getting there. If he's not, he is. Who else would be at this point?
As far as
John
active
Jones
fighters are
retired.
concerned, Conor hasn't fought. John Jones is retired. I mean, look, Tom is a huge star. We're feeling it as well.
And we saw it when he came and visited.
Yes. When he fights again, I think everyone will be reminded. Hopefully it's in the next few months. But there's some of the reporters at the post-fight press conference were talking about that his fight at 6 a.m. in Spain was doing the same numbers as Real Madrid matches back home. Like, Spain has never experienced, obviously, anything like this. It's rare that we get to see someone do this type of stuff who comes from Europe. And now it's just like, okay, so with all due respect to Charles, it was just so easy. You kind of just want to see him back in. Like, could we get him back in there relatively soon? Could we get him back in the
he said he wanted 2025. He wants another
Could
fight.
we get the December card? Could you imagine him in New York?
Oh, my
There's so many
goodness.
possibilities. And I said it before. I said it
MSG.
as we went in. I said, if he wins this fight, do the Paddy fight now.
I agree.
And I gotta give the UFC a lot of credit. Last 2 pay-per-views, we've had 4 face-offs after a fight.
Remind me what the last 2 were?
We had Kayla and Amanda.
Right.
We had who was the other one? We had Merab.
Merab and Corey Sandhagen. That was sort of like, did they bring Corey in, or was that like through the cage?
Fair, but they at least acknowledged
Yeah,
it.
they acknowledged it.
And then Josh Van and Pantoja.
I thought the Josh Van was so beautiful because they brought him back out to sit cage
We'll get to that. But I just want to say, like, the Paddy one was such a big one because we weren't quite sure. You know, Gaethje's out there talking his stuff. Armin weighed in, so you'd think he would be the front runner.
Not only talking his stuff, but they cut to each of those guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before that moment.
They did the same with the flyweights with Moreno and Van. These guys have a history, 3-4 years. They despise the way they talk about each other. They despise each other. Make that fight now.
Make it.
You have to make
Don't
that.
blow it.
That
Make
fight
it.
is gigantic. It is gigantic. What? Paddy needs one more? Who gives a fuck?
Watch the trade-off, too. If Paddy wins that fight, now he's rocket ship straight to the moon. Unbelievable.
100%.
Becomes a champion, is the one that
That is the
dethrones Ilia
fight.
Topuria.
And I feel for Armin.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk to him, and I want to know what's happening. I said after the last Paddy win, I said Paddy Gaethje's the number 1 contender fight. And honestly, if this is a meritocracy, it should be Ilia versus Armin, Paddy versus Gaethje. It's right there.
Makes sense.
Too bad
yeah.
it's not.
To your point, Ilia versus Paddy, Armin versus Gaethje.
There
Those
it
are the
is.
fights.
Do it.
Ilia versus Paddy is monumental. Is Ilia versus Paddy, now that Jones versus Aspinall is off the table, is that the biggest fight?
No.
Hamzat and DDP still.
I don't know, man. Hamzat and DDP?
I think so,
Hamzat
yeah.
and DDP are nowhere near the level of famous as Ilia and Paddy.
I think Hamzat's pretty close.
DDP isn't. With all due respect.
DDP is not on the level of,
No way.
of Paddy.
Paddy,
Paddy
everyone
has
knows
that,
Paddy.
that
He's mainstream popular.
fame.
I think it's still bigger.
I still think Ilia Islam, if you could somehow make
Oh,
that
Ilia
fight
Islam,
Well,
for sure.
I'm talking about fights that could be made. I don't see that fight happening.
I think there's a dream down the line for the UFC that Islam gets the belt and then you do another pound for pound 1 versus 2 and it's Ilia moving up to 170.
See, I think they've always been against the idea of 3 divisions. Conor with Pereira, it could definitely happen, but the reason why I think it won't happen anytime soon is because there's so many killers at 170 to make those guys wait.
Yeah.
Might not be a decision that sits
Right.
lightly with them.
There's lots of reasons it might not happen. For one, what you just mentioned, 70 stacked and looking for contender. There's a lot of contenders lined up. For 2, you may not want to kind of let the genie out of the bottle in the way you do with Conor, right? Conor was the one who was like, I need this second belt, got it, and then that kind of started an era where now everybody needs a second belt. If Ilia is the one to push the envelope further and go, I need a 3rd belt, and then they open that bottle, now the next 10 people are going to be looking for 3rd belts. But the reason to do it is if you want to differentiate him from Conor McGregor, there's a good way to do it, and it's that 3rd belt.
Okay, but we don't want to disrespect Jack Della.
Sure.
Jack Della wins.
Go to
Do you
fight
think
Jack
Islam
Della.
moves down?
That could be another possibility.
If Jack Della
yeah.
wins, does Islam say, you know what, let me go back? Because I think that might be the quickest path to this fight happening.
Sure,
Yeah.
but if Jack Della wins and beats Islam, why wouldn't Ilia Topuria say, I want Jack Della?
Sure, there's just no history there.
Yeah, so what?
I'm just saying,
Plus, like when you go to
as far
star
as
power,
big-time fights, Ilia versus Paddy, Ilia versus Islam at 155 are bigger than the notion and the promotion surrounding him going for the third belt. Also, can I just say, he did seem smaller than Charles there, which
he
makes
was smaller.
him that.
He was smaller.
So him at 170 against a big dude like Jack is a big
for
jump.
sure, no
This
doubt.
is the
no
part
doubt, no doubt.
I don't want to harp on the point, but like this idea, like Islam's going to go up to 170. It's still Islam. It's the same guy. Even if he fights at 55, it's Islam Makhachev. Like,
Sure, but if he loses at 170, a bit of the luster
that's
goes
why
away.
I think, yeah, move on.
A bit, or you say
It ain't happening anytime
That's right.
soon.
Yeah, that's not the next one.
Ilya
Paddy,
versus
do Paddy,
Paddy.
do Paddy.
Don't lose out on it.
And the idea, so they brought him in. Rogan, they said, kind of spearheaded it. Dana White afterwards said, you know, they shouldn't have done that. That had nothing to do with me. I'm calling cap on that, if I'm being honest. I just think he didn't love the idea that his family was in there and didn't
That's what
want
he
to have
said,
his hands or his fingerprints all over it. No one's just bringing in Pat. We've seen how hard it is for some guys to enter the cage. He's not just waltzing in there because Joe Rogan said his name. It was so good. It was such a great moment, and we need more of that. Give me more of that. There was this stretch there where like a big fight would happen, and Dana would go to the post-fight press conference, and someone would ask him, he's like, "We'll see on Tuesday. We'll see on Tuesday." No, this sport is always about like, what's next? What's next? If you have the guys there, if you can orchestrate this, deliver it. That's what people want. And I think it made the moment that much bigger because not only do we have an opportunity to digest the win, the aura, the superstardom, but now you're like, oh, and this is possible. By the way, because that happened, do they have to do the Paddy fight next?
They don't have to.
It would be a bit of a
obviously, but
letdown if not, no?
They don't have to, but I think that is the best game plan.
God.
Whoever
Such a
emerges
good-
from that
the
will
shit talking
Will be
would be nuts.
the face
will
of
be
the
the
UFC.
face of the UFC.
That's
The
no
shit
doubt. I
talking
think
would
it
be
is.
nuts.
Would be nuts. And like you mentioned, that Ilia doesn't talk shit. It's like he does in this poetic manner. The I'm sorry, I didn't want it to be you. The victory is
But
already
is that
mine.
shit
I just need to
talking,
come
or-
collect. I
or
don't
is it
know.
just
Like
reality?
I guess he is talking shit, and like when he's so confident, you just have to believe it. But man, the guy is a poet with the way that he does his shit talking.
Does Armin have a better chance of beating him than
Yes.
Paddy?
Then Paddy, yeah, I believe so. Yes, I understand Paddy's looked incredible, but like he is coming off a win against Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
Just because I believe Armin to be a better fighter. Now, Paddy can prove me wrong. I think Paddy showed me a lot in that Michael Chandler fight that makes me believe I'm at least interested in seeing this fight. But Armin is a better fighter until proven otherwise for me. And also, by the way, only 28 years old. So this, like, if Armin is able to enter this picture, I think you should do Paddy next 100%. Consider no alternatives. But Armin versus Ilia potentially, let's say after that, is a massive fight. Is a massive fight that could also be a young guy getting a title and getting an opportunity. So I think Gaethje feels like the outlier to me, right? Because we're closer to the end than the beginning with Justin Gaethje. And so that's not the future of the UFC. That's not the future face of the
versus
UFC.
Ilia would be a problem for
Ilia or for
For
Gaethje?
Gaethje.
yeah the way he hits.
the way he
knocks.
hits.
I mean,
we're really gonna put if it is Ilia Paddy.
Is there
we're
somebody
really
it's
gonna
not a
put
problem for at this point?
Gaethje's
Ilia's-
taking a lot of damage.
Oh,
he's going to
sure.
stand there. I don't see him trying to take down Ilia,
Maybe.
Yeah.
and it's going to be problematic. Ilia was asked about that in the UFC podcast afterwards, and they said, "What about Gaethje?" And his response, again, he's so good with the cold one-liners. He's like, "You must not be a fan of just a Gaethje
if you
You're
want to see
asking."
that fight. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, that's what I mean. Like it's like he's talking shit, but he's not. He's just
Cerebral.
like it's like
He's just
he's speaking
telling you.
facts. It's incredible. Yeah, we'll really put the Scousers don't get knocked out to the test.
Oh
if,
my gosh.
if Ilia fights Paddy.
And shout out to Ilya's son, a superstar in his own right. Like you see him on the mitts and emulating his dad. First of all, for a young kid, he looks phenomenal. And then the footage that I saw today of him singing the walkout song and going like this and walking around with the belt, going up to Merab in the back. It's just, it's so much fun to watch. And it was such a great palate cleanse. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.